Welcome to DBL. I'm Tori. I'm in for Sam, and we got Stephanie Jones. She is here with us today.
What up, girl?
Let's do it, everybody. How do you know when a journalist is doing their job? And asking the tough questions. When do they go too far? Because we're asking this because Chris Wallace is being called out for his recent interview with Adam Driver. He asked him about his looks, saying Adam doesn't quite look like the typical movie star. Adam then had to weirdly defend his own looks. This is just the latest example of interview questions that are making people cringe. In fact, some people online are now trying to cancel Diane Sawyer for some of her old interviews. Let's take a look at some examples.
He's gone on television and pretty much said, you broke his heart. You did something that caused him so much pain, so much suffering. What did you do?
I was upset.
What moral right do you have after doing sex to write a children's book?
I don't understand that question.
It may be a bad shot, but this is real. I mean, the bones, that's real.
Yeah, my bones, yeah. I'm 5'7" and thin. I can understand what you mean.
But that's not just thin.
No, what is it? Diane, tell me. Do you know?
It's scary thin.
That means I didn't know.
She was like, I'm in trouble now.
The question.
Yeah. The tables have now turned.
Move on.
Yeah, the tables have turned. Diane Sawyer is not the only journalist facing this type of scrutiny. You guys are already writing in. Barbara Walters has also been called out for her past. Listen to this.
One juror at the grand jury asked you why you kept having affairs with married men. Why did you? Why do you? You know, you could stop these rumors. You could say, as many artists have, yes, I am gay. Or you could say, no, I'm not. Or you could leave it as you are, ambiguous.
Ricky Martin said he did feel some PTSD after that interview. Even Oprah has been criticized for interviews from the 80s.
Can I criticize people that are calling out dead people?
When it's your turn.
Okay.
Remember the time she had 20-year-old Cindy Crawford stand up and show off her looks? Cindy recently came out and said that made her feel like chattel. All right, this is just a picture or video over that when she made her stand up, kind of face the audience. It was very awkward. What do we all think of this? DBL Nation, is it fair to judge these old interviews by today's standards? We want to go to dblvote.com to weigh in. You are our fifth panelist. Al, you are speaking. Please have the floor.
You know, that last interview we showed was from 1986. If anybody thinks that they're going to go through their career, should we be lucky enough to have it a 50, 60-year career and not have any regrets that can't be highlighted? I mean, towards the end of her life, I remember we showed the clip of Barbara Walters. I believe she was on The View, and a lot of female anchors came through and hugged her one by one and appreciated her being so groundbreaking in the field. To nitpick something out of somebody's past and bring it up after we've kind of all evolved our thinking, it makes people want to double down, Erica. It makes people not want to admit that they're wrong, Steph, when you know you're not going to get, you know, you're still going to get the same amount of blowback from whatever you did. So what's the point of evolving?
Well, you mean once you've course corrected and then you're going back and saying, but you did this before. I think it's interesting because if we're going to judge the people in front of the camera, then we kind of have to judge ourselves too, because this is what we, the American public, said that we wanted. You know, the ratings definitely reflected that. This was a time, and I'm not taking away from the feelings of the people who were victim to this, because I'm not going to defend the idea of someone being outed on television, or a woman of a certain age asking a very young Britney Spears about a breakup. And the way that she formulated the question, it wasn't a question, it was more of an indictment of what did she do. So I'm not going to defend it, but I do think that if we're going to have like this 2020 vision, then we need to also reflect on why we were so insatiable with this appetite. You're talking about a time when journalism went to tabloid and editorial. You had people who were interviewing world leaders in politics, and it was very hard-hitting news.
Right.
And now you're interviewing Britney Spears or asking Whitney Houston why she's so thin and implying that it's because of something nefarious. So once that switch happened and the global community decided this is what we wanted, this is what we started to get.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is.
Supply demand, that's what we demanded. Steph, you're nodding to what Erica was saying. What do you think?
Wholeheartedly agree with what America.
She kind of is.
I love it. I love
She kind of is.
No, I definitely agree with everything that Erica is saying wholeheartedly. And I think the thing is, which is unfair to these women, Oprah, Diane, all of them, if they hadn't have asked those questions, they wouldn't have been on our screens and they wouldn't be where they are today, and we wouldn't still be watching them. It's as simple as that. That was the trend of the time. And if they didn't do it, someone else would have been in that seat, and that could have dictated their career. And I think times were so different then. We weren't as aware, we weren't as considerate. There wasn't cancel culture back then. And I think exactly what Erica said, that's what the audience wanted. And I hate us all pointing the finger solely at the interviewer. There is a full production team behind these people that wrote and helped organize those questions. There is the network upon which it was aired, and I'm sure aired many, many times for years to come. So at what point do we end the finger pointing?
Yeah.
It's not just one person.
Right. And when do we fix the lens? It's just two different lenses. One's 2023, one's 1986. You can't fit them both together at the same point.
I will say this. I think that lens does show us who we are at any given time. The television reflects what we're interested in. People remember people always say, well, MTV doesn't show music videos anymore. That's because you stopped watching them.
Yeah.
When they started putting on whatever the teen pregnancy show, and that's when people started watching. People started watching The Real World. That's what people want to see. So now there's no more music videos. Whatever you want to see is on the television, because that is you and that is us, and we need to own that and stop putting it on the interviewers or whoever's in front of the camera.
And what do you guys really want to see is DBL. We all know that, okay? We know that. Let's get to the poll results. Is it fair to judge old interviews by today's standards? 89% of you say no. That is a strong majority. Very rarely on DBL do we have that.